These right here are called Garnish moldings. It just covers up some of the window workings so you don't see all this stuff. Now, over the years, stuff changes. This thing has been chopped, so the pillar could have changed a little bit. I mean, there's all sorts of variables here. But long story short, this has to be changed, has to be fixed, or it's not gonna look right. So right now I'm just spending the time to make sure that these fit in there and the fitment is nice and proper so it looks perfect for paint. So if you look around here, you can see that in the back here, when you look straight on, you actually can't see the garnish molding here. That's because at one point, either from the factory or when my dad chopped this back in '99, this curve actually got kind of janky. So, or what I did on the other side, again, this might be kind of hard to tell in video, but what I did on this side here was I added that little section, which I'm still working on this one. But I added that little section so that what you see from the garnish molding all the way around is pretty uniform when you look straight on anyways. This isn't mounted in here, this is just... So yeah, it still needs some fine tuning, but what I'm gonna do here is add that little radius, which I just kind of tried to show you. So I start off with a 1/8 inch piece of steel, and that little bit, I mean, that's really all it takes, but those little details add up on something like this. So what I did, start off with the flat surface. I'll end up clamping this down, but if you clamp this down and then you set your piece of steel onto here, slide this up in there like it's supposed to be, now you can actually weld it and it'll be flush with this side here so that you can get this nice radius edge from this piece of steel and transfer it onto the edges of this. Now this side here was actually worse. I should have showed you the doing this side, but I didn't think to video this part, but I'll show you basically what I did. So I had to blend it in because originally, see how narrow this is here? Well, when you add to the back side here, you can't just add just that bar like this. You can't just add that, you have to work it in with some metal. So that's what I did here. I still got to grind it all and whatnot, but you can see that will actually look OEM once it's all done. And like I said, I don't know if originally the Chevys were like that, where this was inset more, so it looked a little goofy. Back in those days, they didn't have as much of a keen eye as we do nowadays. Now, back then it was all function, now it's 4-man function, so I've been doing that kind of stuff on this, fitting doors. You can see I'm adding onto the doors. Been doing that stuff for about 2 weeks now. So getting it all prepped for body and paint because the metalwork is the most important thing. Now you can see I have that radius 1/8 inch rod in there, welded in, and then I cut it out just a piece of sheet metal to fit in between there and welded it up. Obviously this is all going to be ground down, but now I can take and I can shape this edge here back into this original garnish molding here. I'll show you on this piece. You can see it blends in nice. There's this line here that kind of fades into that. And then the rest of this, like any pinholes or anything like that, will be filled with Bondo. So just basically a skim coat of Bondo on this. So basically I'm just going to do the same thing on here. Started with just a curled little piece of sheet metal here. Once I got this tacked around this edge here and a couple tacks on each side, I was able to just pound this metal over. Now you can see that it's starting to curl over. Now basically what you're doing is you're just stretching the metal. Every time you hit the metal right here, it's going to stretch and it's going to give you this sort of a shape. If you watch the ridge on this radius, you can kind of shape it to the form that you want. You can see this line here. Once I get this approximately shaped and pounded in there, I can actually cut this off and blend it in with this line. And then the next piece I will add will be the blend from here to this radius edge. I do it in 2 pieces because it's easier to work with 2 pieces, and then you can get a little bit of adjustment when you weld it all up. And then like I said, I'm going to radius this around here so it looks nice and clean. You can see that it's a little bit wavy. So I have a set of radius gauges here that my dad made a long time ago, cut out on a laser. Anyways, a bunch of different radiuses. I found the radius that best fits this. Traced around it, you can see here, there's a little lip. Now I'm gonna take off, it looks like almost about 3/16 of an inch here. So now I'm gonna use my Eastwood 4-inch belt, 6-inch disc sander, and this allows me to just get a nice radius edge. Here's another example of something that I'll have to do to this garnish molding for exact fitment reasons. Okay, so I have this pushed in there, and you can see as you scope along this line here, you can't see any of the garnish molding, but then as you get to the back, see how you can slightly see some of it? It starts to come up, which is probably at about this point. Well, that's a little detail that needs to be fixed. Take this out, put some sort of object here to hold this, and then only bend from that point this direction. So just a little bit this way. I guess it's probably about 1/4 of an inch. And again, keeping this part here straight because that part lines up properly, but then it ends up coming up like this. So I'll have to cut it, hold that, bend it this way a little bit, add a little bit of section here, and then weld it back up so that way that this stays straight and follows the body line perfectly. This is sort of like if you think about door gapping a vehicle, you want your gaps to be uniform and the same all the way around, so you can see same kind of concept. That's a little detail that adds up. You got all these little details and they kind of multiply on each other. I just mentioned about the gapping on the bottom there now as well. You can see I have this in here, and that's a good 1/2 inch of play almost. So that means that this molding is too short in this direction. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna push it one direction, which I chose to push it towards the back, and you can see, you can actually see through, which is no bueno. Even if you center the distance, it's still not quite right. So I actually measured, and it's gonna need 3/8 of an inch on the bottom and 1/4 of an inch addition on the top. Now if you look, you can see here, I said 3/8 on the bottom. Well, that's because there's more gap or more showing exposed on the bottom than there is on the top. So that's just another something. So in order to extend this, it's gonna be a real pain in the ass. So this is the edge here that needs to be extended this direction. So the top, it's no big deal. It's just a simple radius lip here. But on the bottom, now you can see it has a dual radius here with this little, whatever the hell you want to call it. So I'm actually gonna slice this, and I have to blend it in. Now, one way you could do it is if you have another piece of garnish molding, you could take that other piece of garnish molding, chop it up, and extend it with the same shape here. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make it by hand, form it in, and make it work. Right now I'm inside the car working on the garnish molding. What I did here was there was actually a couple original holes that lined up. Remember, we chopped this top, so we had to change the garnish molding. So a lot of the times the garnish moldings don't line up with the original holes. There's one hole up here, or down here, and one hole up here that lines up, and the rest of them are off like a 1/2 a hole. So I'm gonna have to re-drill and re-tap mounting holes. You can see there's just a divoted hole here. So what I did was I got the 2 screws started that could, and then I went around and I tacked this garnish molding into place so that when I'm drilling on it, it doesn't move. Now, the way I did this was I just have it flush or a little bit inset compared to this other flange on the body here. Now the headliner will wrap around this, so you got to try and keep, see there's a little gap there. I'm keeping a little bit of a gap for the headliner to go into, and this should push in there fairly snug but not too tight. So I can drill and tap those holes, and then that is done. Obviously, it wasn't that easy to get this thing to line up because, again, when you chop it, you have to chop the garnish molding, and it can get bent out of shape and whatnot, so you just gotta be careful with it. Now, if you have any doubts when you're doing your garnish molding, you can see I have the garnish molding in here like I just showed you. You can take whatever windshield seal you're gonna use. This is one from Fairchild Industries. It's just a little sample I ordered from them to make sure it would work. Now you can throw this on there. See how close that is to that? That's just about right. That means when this is all together, everything's all bolted up, you won't be able to see much, if any, of the inside of this window opening here, but you still want to paint the inside of this window opening in case you can see that. How this works, the glass goes on the top, the sheet metal on the bottom, and this has a self-built-in locking strip. You can see this folds out, so once you get your glass and everything in there, you push this locking strip back in and it actually tightens itself on the glass and the sheet metal. Pretty cool how that works. Again, this is from Fairchild Industries, and I'm actually going to need 7 feet for the back window and 10 feet for the front window. It's going to be the same seal. So I've been working on these doors quite a bit. My dad chopped them. He kind of made a mess of them, so I've had to rework a lot of the door to make all these edges here nice, and then as well as the inside, which you don't see, but I want it to be nice. And also I did a lot of work on the garnish molding here. You can see I added a bunch on. Just done a bunch of work, and now I am working on mounting these garnish moldings. Now I started off with 2 Clecos, one in this corner and one in this corner, which are just going to be flathead bolts or flathead screws when it's all together. And then on the top side of the door here, you can see there's some original mounting holes in the door, but the garnish molding, none of them line up anymore because when you chop it, everything sort of moves. So what I'm about to do is I just took a Sharpie and marked the center of the hole on the garnish molding, and then I can put in some little pieces on the backs of the garnish molding, which will allow a screw to come through to hold these down into place. Now you can see that's why you need screws. It'll hold it all tight all the way, and then it'll pull it also tight this direction, so it'll all just fit in there nice. And then the bottom shouldn't need anything. You can see, or maybe you can't see, but it's sturdy in here. So the bottom, the only thing holding it is this, and then it's also resting. There's a lip here that's resting inside the door, so that keeps it from coming up at all. Working on a bunch of dinky little things like the doors here, cleaning up the garnish molding. You can see the inside of the garnish molding is kind of nasty. The window tracks, where the window tracks would go, had some welds, evening up all these lips, all sorts of little stuff. So that is why this thing takes forever. That's why a car like this takes forever. So if your body guy's trying to tell you it's going to take 20 grand to paint your car, well, it's more than just paint.